No, come back.
Mr. Clerk. Call
Sheasley. Here. Fisher. Here. Roundstrap. Here. Mylum. Here. Cook.
Here. All right, let's quickly go through the agenda, just as a reminder. The audio for our informal is being recorded.
It's a video also? Decided only to do audio for now. Kind of hard to position a camera. It's gonna be staring at one person. Unless you want to actually aim it at people.
Is there, if you do get a different camera, is there a way to put it at the end?
I could possibly do that. I just have to.
We tried that the one year and it's just the angle, but I'm gonna do that.
Alexa's.
I could wear a GoPro.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah. They have them on the outside the camera too, they also motion activated.
Actually, think you're playing next year.
Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, he's gonna be starting.
Move it to-
I could wear a GoPro.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so we have the Tonawanda officials outing check presentation as well as the veteran of the month. On the minutes,
I'll take it.
Mylan, any questions? Okay. All right, resolution 2 regarding the Riverview Elementary School. And did you have questions on it?
Yes, it's not. Not just the speed limits, it's also the pavement painting this. You know, since school zone.
Right.
And I had that in the. My email. Well, that's not included and it's just saying about speeds, isn't it? Doesn't really say
Yeah,
what it is.
It says school.
Speed,
speed
school
limits.
limits, yeah. So I mean, that has to
And
be painted out.
signage.
You know, I believe, I would think so.
Would
Yeah,
the,
once we're taking that out of the code, so that's no longer a school zone, so yes, all markings and signs would have to be removed.
Okay. So can we amend that and all other markings or no?
That, we don't need to,
yeah, once,
cause it's
So
not,
what he's
it's
saying
no
is-
longer a
Right,
school
okay,
speed
right.
zone, so everything regarding to that's gotta go. So that would be the markings, that would be the signs,
Yeah, cause that's not,
it doesn't have to say.
okay, all right, okay, yeah, that's all I wanna know.
When
Yeah,
you
okay.
passed it, we just passed it saying with the school, zone.
Thank
You
you.
didn't put down, you can put markings or anything, it's part of the
Okay,
deal with the school.
All right. yeah, I wasn't sure, I just saw
Yeah,
that.
no, you're correct, it would
Yeah.
all be removed.
Okay,
They
thank
would
you.
order it done if it passes.
do we want to do council on this?
Sure.
All right. All right, then next is the stipend for the superintendent of public works. Any questions? Okay.
Has anybody else gotten any negative feedback from the DPW as I have? About this?
No, I've got
Nobody's
nothing.
reached out to anybody else on the company?
No.
I've spoken with many DPW people, the stipend, believe it or not. They're kind of in favor of the people I've spoken to, and the reason for it being it's a one-time this year deal. And as we see how. Different personnel things go through over the next few months through things. This can always be revisited next year to either increase, decrease, take away,
But that's why.
and that's correct, and that,
Exactly why we did
and,
it this way.
and that's actually. People are happy to see it that way versus if we were to say, let's give you a $5,000 a year raise, which is now codified, and now we have to reduce salary versus raise, this is actually a better angle.
No, I agree. I was reached out with some pretty strong opinions and,
By more than one person.
no.
Well, just also in conversations with the mayor, it said that he was gonna give him a pay raise and go back pay. To when he took over for Mandy, that was whatever, August
Right.
30th, we had
And
discussion
that's not.
about him, right? And that's, you know, and I thought it was fine with me. You know, he's done 30 another or 40% of the job, so.
The
what it is.
the feedback from them, and that's how it snowballed, and that was based on a DPW civil service exam. And then it kind of, the conversation spiraled, and then this was, well, this is a one-time thing, so it's not a bad issue.
Now he's also superintendent now, he's not interim or anything.
He passed the exam and was capped as superintendent.
Okay,
There's no hoopla or congratulations. I did it separately. You can do it yourself too.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anything else on this? All right, now, next is the special event application for the Ronald Murchie, like the Murchie, family Christmas lighting. Questions on it?
Nope.
Okay. All right,
A
then,
couple of years ago, they strung lights across the street. Are they aware that that's not gonna happen again?
do you have a copy of the special event permit?
Yes, but
Does
not
it
with me.
say, okay,
They were told to remove it. So hopefully common sense would kick in and they wouldn't do it again.
Well, let's put it this way, David, if we see it again, we'll tell them to remove it again.
yeah,
And we'll have to
It was
schedule
strung right across the
Yep,
street.
it was.
okay, yeah. I don't think they did it last year, did they? I didn't see.
Is
last
this the
year.
one
It was
where
taken down.
grandma or Santa,
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so.
Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus get on the back of a Parks thing, we drive into the gazebo?
No, no, no,
that's
no,
the-
no.
Cluster
The-
wheeler, you just
yeah.
got it lit up, like Christmas Wonderland.
In memory of
Yeah.
his wife.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's,
It does a
Good
food
guy.
drive and stuff like that.
I'm not familiar
Oh,
with
he was
that.
doing it before.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
that's way.
Yeah.
When I lived at Morgan,
Oh,
that was
okay.
actually a point of direction to people.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, next is the resolution, to close Elmwood Park at the intersections of Fletcher Hill, Grand and Catherine on October 31st. That, is that the Halloween hours, 5:30 to 8:30?
Yep.
Okay. Questions on it?
We'll stay away.
Same.
Hey, no way to avoid it. For me.
Yeah, really? I thought this.
Well, I'll be there, it's a great event.
It's pretty bad.
Stop handing out candy and they won't keep coming.
Right.
That there.
All right, next is a block party on October 26th, for the residents of Elm Street between Delaware and Killawall. Any questions on this? Mr. Fisher, you want this?
Sure, I'll take it.
All right, and then next is the special event application for family movie night, in Elmwood Park. Any questions on this?
You got it all.
Huh?
You got it all, huh?
Plant swaps, this and other movie nights. and
Do we know the
Kmart.
movie, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's
think
what
it
I
is,
read.
yeah.
I think Hocus Pocus.
Not like Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, anything on that? Okay. All right, then next is another special event application for trunk or treat, at Tonawanda Football Clinic on, October 18th. Do we want to do council on this?
Sure.
Any questions on it? Okay. All right, resolution 9. It's for the Haunted Harbor Trunk or Treat event. This is a city-sponsored event, so we don't need a resolution 9.
I've got the Veterans Council, Renaissance
Here you go,
Bridge.
take,
Oh.
take this one then.
Must be that.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so
Oh,
this
okay,
resolution
thank
can
you.
be pulled. It's a city-sponsored event. We
Oh.
don't,
But they're closing the street, right?
no.
Right.
For Haunted Harbor?
Oh,
Yeah, they would.
You say with your.
yeah, the mayor
say with your
authorized
hand
the
either one.
street.
So what was the problem with the city of Tonawanda Fire Open House then?
But I think.
So, yes, so the charter says that for an outside organization, if there's a request to close the street, you have to have council authorization. This was a city-sponsored event. You don't, the mayor can authorize the closure of the street.
Which one's the city sponsored event? The Haunted Harbor?
Yes.
But the
it's a
fire
city-
department one wasn't a city sponsored
No,
event?
that's what I said. Yes, it was a city-sponsored event. So the mayor had to authorize to put the blockades up.
So we didn't need a permit for the fire department then?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's a process that they filled out.
We did, but then it shook out differently. So it didn't need a permit, so, Got it.
Any city.
right, and that's what we talked about, right, okay, so I just want, as long as we're on the same page, that this is being treated the same way as the fire department.
Yeah,
Okay.
so in the charter, it says that city-sponsored events are exempt from filling out a special event permit, so they didn't need to fill that out.
Right.
But the mayor wasn't aware that there was a request to close down city streets until the,
For the fire department, right, but then we talked at the sign opening, and we had a conversation, we said we were gonna correct all that.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah, so we're all on the
yeah,
same.
we have, I'd like to see some consistency in it, and if we don't know what's going on, it makes it much easier.
Yep.
Sorry.
All right, so resolution 9 is in full. All right, the next resolution 10, is for the Veterans Council to close the Renaissance Bridge, for November 11th. Do we want to do council on this? Okay, any questions on that? And since this is an outside organization, this is the reason why council has to authorize the closure. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to go into executive session for personnel of a particular person. Do I have a second?
Very quick.
Second by Mr. Sheasley. All those in favor?
At this point, we'll move, members into the waiting room while we go into exec.
We need Mr. Rua.
Can't do that, we have to be left outside.
Oh,
outside.
we need Mr. Rua. I just wanna make sure we're muted too, or whatever.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Is Adam out there? Adam?
Reporting back in.
Thank you.
Adam is Drescher.
Marty, I'm
Yep.
onboarding a new
Yep.
IT system.
All right, come on up.
Could've been good.
Good, how are you?
Thank you.
Nice.
How are you? Good to see you. Good. How is everyone?
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Do you know everybody around the table?
I think so. I think.
No, Jim Sheasley.
Jim.
Right.
Matt.
First ward
Montalvo.
council member,
Chris, Matt. Montalvo.
second ward council member.
Good to see you. Yep.
Good to see you
Good to see you. Yep.
Matt, good to see you again.
Yep. Mayor.
All right,
All right, presentations for everyone here.
Yes, and down.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Perfect. All right,
If you got a nice.
all right.
the floor is yours.
Floor is mine, all right, I'll get right into it. All right, so Matt Montalvo from Drescher Malecki, we performed the external audit for the city. We're looking at the year ended December 31st, 2023. So I know we're here a little bit later than in past years. We'll talk a little bit about that as far as the transition and everything.
Hang on 1 second, we're getting a feed from there.
Can we just close this?
No, you gotta leave it open.
Oh, you know what? I can just put them in the,
Oh. Mario, you're all set.
Mario.
Whoa.
This is a special day for it. It's the first time we're actually broadcasting our informal meeting. I'm
right.
glad I'm here.
Yeah, right? Okay, we can proceed.
Thank you. So I'll start on page 1. The first thing we outline is the products of our audit, or what are the final deliverables. So within the basic financial statements, that's the primary document that will have all of our independent auditors' reports. So we talk about, well, I'll go through in future slides, just kind of what our objective is with the audit and what our role. And then we will also issue 2 other communications, one being a management letter and another being an auditor communication letter. So what those do is they will provide the highlights of the audit, any recommendations that we have or that we came across, any areas of improvement, those sorts of things. So that's just an overview of the final deliverables. On page 2, I'll give just an outline of our required communication. So as I mentioned before, our responsibility under our standards is to form and express an opinion on your financial statement. So we take a look at your books and records that are prepared by management, and we give an opinion. Do they fairly state or fairly represent City of Tonawonda's financial position? Can they be relied upon by not only the members within this room, but outside third parties, regulatory agencies, etc. So we do plan on moving forward with what's referred to as an unmodified opinion, and that is on your governmental activities and your major funds. So that really encompasses the primary activities of the government. So that's a clean opinion, the best you can do from an audit standpoint on those funds. Significant accounting policies and estimates are disclosed in your notes. No real changes in these areas. You do have some significant estimates out there related to your outstanding liabilities, whether it be your participation in the pension system, your other post-employment benefits. You project out, you actually contract with an actuary to project out your ultimate liability, but no real significant changes in those areas. And then I talked a little bit about independence. That's a requirement for our audit team. We have to be free of conflicts of interest with the city. That's what allows us to be objective in performing the tests
and ultimately providing that opinion, in the financial statements. So then as far as other matters, we talk a little bit, and I'll talk about it in a future slide, just about any difficulties or challenges we had. We did have some delays, and a lot of it, like I said, due to, the transition of the offices and getting and establishing procedures related to year-end closing. We've had a lot of conversations with Adam, and I know, kind of coming in, he had a lot on his plate. So the process was delayed. That's why we're here in October versus, more towards the end of the summer. But ultimately we got to the point where we could have confidence and go forward with our opinion. Page 3, we'll talk a little bit about the financial statement or the financial highlights, starting with the general fund. This is your revenues versus your expenditure trend over the last 5 years. Revenues in blue, expenditures in red. You can see a favorable trend over the last 5 years. You've exceeded your expenditures. What that does is that generates additional fund balance. So that's an increase in fund balances if there's a gap between revenues and expenditures. For 2023, that gap was approximately $2 million. So that's the amount that the general fund increased in fund balance from the prior year. This is a fairly general trend that we're seeing across other municipalities, especially in New York State, kind of coming out of this pandemic period where the economy recovered. A lot of the sales tax came in higher than anticipated. State aid has come back. Interest earnings has been favorable over the last couple of years. Then you have the federal revenues, the stimulus from the stimulus programs. So a lot of those aren't necessarily anticipated to continue that trend upward. They're kind of what we're seeing starting to flatten out a little bit and plateau. However, on the expenditure side, it's kind of the other story where we're starting to see more of those inflationary impacts, the cost of capital projects and supply chain, all of those challenges. We're seeing those kind of come back and, kind of in more predictable direction. So your budgets, I'm sure are going to be continuing as a challenge in the next budget and particularly over the next few years. But favorable increase in the general fund, page 4, this is how it impacted your fund balances. So we show them as the different categories of fund balance or the different restrictions. But if you look at just the total, if we were to add these up, 2022, your total fund balance was $13.2 million. At the end of 2023, it would increase to about $15.3 million. Within that, the main category being unassigned. So that is the truly available portion, about $9.7 million. The assigned portion, that's about 4.7, and the majority of that, about 2.7 of that is what was appropriated in your 2024 budget.
Matt, are you concerned we have too much in our general fund?
So I would never make that comment, because I think it's very subjective on how much fund balance is enough, and it varies government to government. And that is a question I'm getting more these days because we're seeing kind of levels that we're not used to, and right, because of the way the economy has kind of come back. And what I would say is you have a fund balance policy that has a best practice minimum. It doesn't necessarily talk too much about a maximum, but if you start to get to a level where you believe you have too much unassigned fund balance, the best practices are to identify one-time expenditures, whether it be of a capital nature or reducing your debt, not something that is necessarily going to have to be funded every year in a budget or operations. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but it's more identifying a plan. What is our plan to do?
Do you have like a method of predicting what's the minimum we should have, like maybe 2 months of expenditures or?
That's the best practice out there as far as from the government finance officers is they say a best practice minimum would be 2 months of your operating expenses. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's a good position to be in because we're seeing the budget challenges are not going to go away and it's going to become more and more difficult. So, I mean, you can use some of that fund balance. You did that in 2023 into 2024. you just don't want to necessarily have that as your sustainable method to appropriate every
No,
year.
but on the other hand, I don't want a homeowner to say, my God, they got 15 million in fund balance and raise my taxes 6%.
That's the balance.
That's now I'm using.
Yep.
I'm using that.
Yep, that is the balance. Yep.
But to that, excuse me, to that argument as well, having a higher fund balance would help with our credit rating a bit too, so the borrowed money is gonna cost us less in the long term as well.
Yep, and that's one of the factors when your bonds are being rated, among other factors, you know, your will to raise taxes, your available fund balance, those sorts of things. So, not a bad problem to have. So the next slide, we'll run through the sewer fund quickly. 5-year trend, revenues versus expenditures, fairly stable trend, you know, more close to a break-even point within this fund. But that's kind of the purpose of the fund, is to provide the service and to fund that service. You don't want to see big swings necessarily in the sewer fund. So I think this is a stable trend. You had a small increase in 2023. When we look at the impact on the fund balance and on page 6, you can see the last 5 years, we've been able to pretty much sustain it at a similar level, with the exception of 2020. Just around 850,000 versus around a $2.5 million expenditure. So I think that's a stable condition for the sewer fund. So then when we kind of talk about some future considerations, and this is really for all funds, what is our fund balance stability and our planning? We talked about, you know, your two major funds being your general and your sewer fund as far as from an operation standpoint. Definitely in a stable position. You want to look at what's the plan going forward. If we feel like we're at a level where, you know, maybe we do have more unassigned fund balance than we've had in the past, identifying those one-time expenditures, the balance of appropriating. So those are all the considerations there. As far as your restrictions and commitments, we did talk a little bit about the wrapping up of the water fund. So that fund turned over to the water authority years ago, and the outstanding debt on the water fund has now been paid. So now it's a matter of, in 2024, 2025, you want to look at winding down that fund. There's a very small fund balance left. So how do we close that fund going forward, and the future revenues or surcharges, how are they restricted for just water use? So that'll be in the management letter to pursue that. We talked a little bit about the future budget challenges and capital planning. That ties into the ARPA program. So as of the end of 2023, there was still about $1.4 million in that, what we refer to as unearned revenue. So basically it hasn't been spent yet. So I think some through the transition is just getting a handle on what was the plan for those funds. Can we get those funds committed or spent by the end of this year? Committed would be under contract, doesn't have to be spent by the end of 2024, but it has to be obligated. So that's essentially contracted with a vendor or actually spent. So that there's a little bit of urgency only because of the federal deadline to use those funds. And then talking just a little bit about audit readiness and getting year-end in, more of a preparedness, cycle, we'll call it. Like I said, we see a lot of the transition right now as anytime you're transitioning in office, or, you have people coming out with a lot of knowledge and someone that is essentially learning the processes and getting their staff together, and the cross-training piece of that, we kind of expect there's going to be delays. It was great working with Adam. The information was great, but I think it took him time to gather all the information because he wasn't here for 2023. So it's very difficult to, I'm not going to speak for it. I would think for me, it would be difficult to answer questions and dig out information when I really didn't prepare the records initially. So we expect 2024 to go a lot smoother. But we did have a lot of proposed adjustments. We talked through a lot of different areas with Adam and worked through, a lot of those items. So those will be a recommendation around kind of that audit. What do you got to do at year end to get everything wrapped up and ready?
So I guess the question is, the city kind of wanted financially, how we sit?
I would say you're certainly in a stable position, going forward. I think, evaluating where your fund balance levels, where you want them to be. Kind of looking at in the context of what we have as far as capital infrastructure projects out there.
Because I'd rather pay off a large piece of equipment we're paying money on and paying interest on and pay it off with something capital like that versus paying it. It's better, it's smart, it's good business.
Yep, always the balance there, yep, but definitely financially stable, to handle these challenges going forward in budget and capital. So, all in all, fairly good audit. Like I said, we did have some delays. We talked to management about those. I don't think there'll be a concern going forward, but certainly if they are, we'll talk to this group. Any other questions?
Those ARPA funds, is that a use or lose case? Or does it just kind of have to be encumbered by that time?
Yeah, it has to be, they refer to it as
Somewhere.
obligated.
Obligated.
So, which is very similar to encumbered, because you actually have to have a commitment
Sure.
to spend those in, and typically the best documentation is a contract. So if it's a capital project, a contract, or you can actually, you can allocate some of the funds in 2024 that you've already spent. So it's a
So you can
flexible
almost use it
program.
retroactively on things that you paid for and say, we're gonna take it from this fund and pay for, let's say, a fire truck. that we-
Yeah, you have a little bit of leeway there because your reporting isn't due until, I believe, April 2025 for the past year. So you kind of
Okay.
you have a little bit of leeway to identify, we have eligible expenses that qualify, and we can report those as spent.
What are the restrictions on them, or that's not really in your wheelhouse, or is it?
Well, I mean, the federal requirements, this program is really strange from the standpoint of, it was a program that was obviously new for a particular purpose, and the restrictions were a lot less. But also the guidance changed throughout the award. It was almost like, you had an award that was new in a new program, and then new guidance that would come out as you're trying to figure out how to spend it. So at this point, there's a lot less restrictions. Almost everything you do within this government qualifies. So a lot of it is your normal, just being
Even
operating
payroll?
as a government, even payroll, yeah. Even operating as a government.
He did that, I'm
Yep.
fairly certain they put a lot of theirs towards
Yeah.
that April gap that they always hit.
It's not recommended because again, you're kind of saying. By doing that, you could be creating a budget gap going forward. But in this case, where you essentially already raised the funds in 2024, you're kind of planning for the future. You're taking advantage of kind of a one-time grant, if you will. So. Yep, so I would definitely have those discussions, fairly soon before the end of the year and get any resolutions.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good
Have a
report.
good evening. Yep, so we'll issue the final report over the next week or so. We'll work with Adam and get everything filed and wrapped up for 2023.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Matt.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Have a good evening.
Great night.
Thank you so much.
Good thing I'm
Yes, I see you.
Situation that. Do we plow it over?
Yeah,
JR,
because I'm gonna switch yourself over there.
I was with him last night, he told me no. I don't know. Something happened between him and where. Okay. I don't know.
That's in the building.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn our informal, go into our formal. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr.
Second.
Ross, all in favor?
Yep.
But really, from here, we could just.
Mr. Clerk, any resident joining us virtually wish to address the council on the resolutions?
No, ma'am, at this time, there's no one that would like to speak on the resolutions.
Okay, well, let's proceed.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of the resolutions this evening.
Mr. Clerk, we have a motion by Mr. Mylum to waive readings 1 through 10,
I think.
or yes, 1 through 10, correct. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rounstraw. All those in favor? Okay, Mr. Clerk, resolution 1.
Resolution 1 sponsored by Councilmember Mylum.
Do we have a second? I'll second. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Peasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 2 sponsored by the council.
Seconded by the council. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Peasley,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum. Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 3 sponsored by Councilmember Sheasley.
Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Fisher. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution 4 sponsored by Council President Cook.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it.
Second by Mr. Mylum. Comments or questions?
I do have a question. In the past, they had a food truck. You know if that's happening again?
Mr. Clerk, is there any indication on the permit application that there will be a food truck?
Give me 1 second while I grab that application. So on description and purpose, it does include a food truck. It says lighting of Christmas lights, food truck, petting zoo, and face painter.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any other comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 5 sponsored by Councilmember Rounstraw.
Do we have a second?
I do.
Second by Mr. Sheasley. It was a tie.
Huh?
It was a tie. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum, Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 6 sponsored by Councilmember Fisher.
Do we have a second? I'll second. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 7 sponsored by Councilmember Rounstraw.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it.
Seconded by Mr. Mylum. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 8 sponsored by the council.
Seconded by the council. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
And resolution number 9 has been stricken from the agenda. Resolution number 10 sponsored by the council, seconded by the council.
Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public following the resolutions. For those that are joining us in person, please approach the microphone. For those that are joining us virtually, there is a spot for you to raise your hand please do so and the clerk will call upon you. Mr. Clerk, we have a comment on the floor.
Norma Kinsmiller, 96 Cleveland Avenue. Same complaint I've had before. We can't hear everyone. I'm sitting, what, 3 rows back. I can't hear everything that gets said up here. In the informal meeting, we can't hear everyone speaking. We need people to speak up so that everyone can hear and understand what's being said. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, we have another comment on the floor.
Fine, thank you. Bill Simon, 6 Plymouth. Since in resolution 2, you were very specific in naming Hamilton, Taylor, and Wadsworth, please note, packets also is on that list. I know it's all encompassing and all the signs should come down, but there's one right in front of my house, which I've offered to take down as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simon. Any other comments? Mr. Clerk, any resident joining us virtually wish to address the council?
No, ma'am.
All right, let's proceed. Mr. Sheasley.
Just a few, to William Pohl, I've known Mr. Pohl for a number of years, also a Legion member. Congratulate him on his service to the city. With working with, Mr. Franzek, the trees, we thought the NFTA and the White Cat, there's some dead trees. And we always thought NFTA had taken, and Mr. Franzek and Mr. Foles are gonna take care of the dead trees so they don't fall on somebody's head. And also there's a drainage ditch behind 74 Maldener. And Mr. Franzek just told me tonight that they're gonna start dredging that so the backyards aren't getting flooded out. You know, I told him, go see the mayor across the street. No, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Sheasley. Mr. Fisher.
For the Chris Fisher Gives Back this week, it went to the Tonawanda Football Clinic for their trunk or treat event. That will be on the 18th, as we read in the resolutions. For the Veteran of the Month, Bill Pohl. Congratulations, sir. When I went to his house to build the story that we were going to have the mayor read, he met me through his window and we talked through the front window and on his front lawn, and I heard some great stories. So congratulations. That also spirals me into talking about veterans. There's a bill, Assembly Bill 9205, Senate Bill 8596, that has been passed by the legislator calling for the New York State Veterans Tuitions Award Program to include all veterans, not just combat veterans, and to include graduate school. Tomorrow, I will be at a press conference with the Assembly Majority Leader, Crystal Peoples-Stokes, calling on the governor to sign that bill. If anybody's interested or knows any veterans that are in college, they're more than welcome to attend. And then lastly, from one city to another, wishing Byron Brown all the best in his future endeavors. We have our partners in government will now be acting Mayor Chris Scanlon. I know Chris, I've met him a bunch of times over the last few weeks during the election season. Great guy, looking forward to seeing how we can all put that together. That is all.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Mr. Rautenstrau.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to continue, thank you to Judge Saltarelli for the work that you do with keeping the city officials outing going. It's great to see that that's being put to good use for the St. Francis Food Pantry and for all the great work Officer Pauling does for our kids. Thank you to Bill Pohl, not only for your service to the country, but your service to our community. It's much appreciated. That's really all I have this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rautenstrau. Mr. Mylum.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be brief. Thank you, Mr. Pohl. In our many meetings together, I've always found you to be a very honorable and great person to speak with, and this award is very well deserved. So congratulations. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Mayor.
Madam President, thank you very much. Number one is Friday. This Friday is the Neighbors United is doing a family night at Elmwood Park, starting from 5 to 11. If you want to stop down there. On the 18th also is the Tonawanda Football Clinic trunk or treat, 6 to 8 o'clock. You're more than welcome on East Niagara Street. Saturday the 19th on Gateway Harbor, and on Main Street is the Haunted Harbor, which is presented right on Gateway Harbor. It's just a great time. Mark, thank you for your continued work on that. It's a great thing, and you were right. It's a networking opportunity for everybody. I would never miss it. Mr. Pohl, thank you for your service. Thank you very much for your service. And then, we got some revenue, some new revenue coming in. I got the contract today, actually handed it to Mike. Mike and, Brittany, thank you for your due diligence, working on the contract. They already started on it now. It's the half of Spalding, the 10 acres, approximately, $250,000 coming to us. So the contract's being, tweaked right now, and it's been in the works for a long time. You know, checks in the mail, we waited for forever. So it's about time it came in, and that's only the first one. We got one more side left, and then we're done with the entire Spalding. So that's very exciting. And the most important, I can't miss this one. My wife of 44 years, we had our anniversary October 11th, and I'll tell you what, it was the best decision I ever made. So thank you to my wife, Kate. Now stop it. I heard that. Overnight parking, I want to make a little note on overnight parking. We extended it to November 1st. But I want you to understand that that overnight parking is not related to snow. It's related to the leaves coming down. Our leaves aren't coming down as of yet. Some of them aren't even turning color. I just came back for the Thousand Islands and they're already dropping left and right. So I am going to be in constant contact with Mr. Dave over there from DPW. And Dave Franzik and myself will sit down each morning and discuss where we are. I don't see it changing right now, but if there's a week left and they really come down, I may change. But right now, we are open until the 1st of November. So that's all I really have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to wish the mayor and our first lady a very happy anniversary. I think it's debatable if that was the best decision she made, but we'll call her later and find out.
On that?
Yeah, right. I'd like to thank Mr. Poole for his service to our country and our city. We certainly appreciate your contributions that you made. So thank you. Very well-deserved recognition. I'd also like to thank Treasurer Malecki for meeting with us this evening. If you did not hear, the report is that our finances are very stable. So there was a lot of hard work that went into this, a lot of tough decisions. So great job by all. Last but not least, the Tonawanda versus North Tonawanda football game is right around the corner. I'd like to wish all the best, of course, to the city of Tonawanda, and I look forward to whatever wager Mayor Austin Tylek has put together for us, but I know we'll be victorious. With that said, the Common Council will be meeting in the back room. Thank you all for coming this evening, and drive home safe.
Go Red Warriors.
I know you're leaving, so you sent.
Yeah.
Sent you those photos. You got those photos I just sent you?
Yeah, thank you so much.
I knew you're leaving, so
Thank
you
you.
got them.
Yeah, no, thank you.
You gotta edit it because they got the photo of the pictures of the other person's phone there. Yeah, but you just, that's easy
Okay.
cropped out.
Yeah, I'll try that. Okay. All right, call me if you guys need. Just what I hear. I got it. Wow, that's great.
We give special invitations to the vendors. He had one time department that's from outside the city that still come. And they all wait. Department head of the public works for 90 years. 90 years old, came from our.
Wednesday. The
First Wednesday, after the lake. It's only been out for over 50 years. We just started. Back when I was younger, when I was 18.
No.
That was a big party. It's over 50 years.
And then when did this start?
I gotta say, it started sometime in the night.
No, thank you.
Mr. Fisher, do you have anything for around?
Yes, but I've already addressed them, and I'm just bringing it up to everybody here. The water main break at the corner of Main and Franklin, the water went across the street, caused like a cavity or a void. Is somebody there here? There's not here. Caused like a cavity or a void, but actually they broke the stamped concrete that belongs to the city between the curb and the sidewalk. But the engineering department says they're on it to work with the water department to get that fixed and corrected. But that was our nice stamped concrete. It's not just regular concrete. So if they broke it, they should be replacing it with equal to. Oh, you know about it then? Okay. Franklin and Maine is where the civilian came in last week and complained they had the break. Well, now they excavated and they found what the issues were.
Yeah.
And it's broken on her side, but the water went underground to the second ward, actually crossed wards.
There was a gap this much underneath the sidewalks, that's just ran, whatever.
And then allegedly they drove a dump truck over that part of the sidewalk and it collapsed and it broke all the concrete. So, either way, it's broken. They filled it in with stone, but it has to be, the concrete itself has to be replaced. The reason why that conversation started was that was actually a part of the concrete that was really nice concrete. It was just offset. It was like tilted at like a 45-degree angle. And I've actually been, with the sidewalks that we've been working on, people have come to me and said, hey, my sidewalk's broken. I need a new sidewalk. Nothing wrong with the sidewalk. They're tilted by like 45. So like when the trees got ripped out, the roots, got killed off and the sidewalk collapsed. So I talked to the engineer and he's looking into finding someone for next year that can actually lift sidewalks. There's a process where you can inject concrete or something down and it lifts it back up and it makes it level. And that will save us some significant money of trying to get sidewalks replaced. And then the last one was there was a person named Patty Bannis on Loretta that brought to our attention that there's a wire hanging at the corner of Loretta and Grove. But the wire appears to be either a cable line or an old telephone line. I talked with Dave from DPW. He says he won't have a problem. He could send somebody a pair of wire cutters and just clip this. It looks like a tree branch that's hanging off of a wire, but it's actually a wire hanging off of a wire. So it just needs to be clipped to put these people at ease. And that's it.
Forgot. Neighbor will kill me. The 5-ton limit signs for Ellicott Creek. Right. We said, I talked to them, we talked a couple of 3 weeks. We just have to erect them. We don't have to.
It's already an ordinance. It's already.
Right. So can we get it, man?
That's what we're doing. We're already
Okay.
taking to it.
All right, okay.
Two of them.
Yeah, Ellicott Creek with the TCMH and Ellicott Creek and Young. Right.
So it's just an informational sign.
Now it's gotta be enforced.
No, it's an ordinance.
It's an ordinance, but the sign is just an informational sign allowing you to know that there's an ordinance there.
Right.
Yeah.
The one truck driver being a real nitwit.
That's
That's
not-
the problem.
Well, that's what a lot of people don't understand. And correct me if I'm wrong, truck routes, you do not need a sign to enforce a truck route. You just need the ordinance.
Right.
That's the
That is
the
correct.
burden's on them to understand.
The guy was a real nitwit. He goes by and beeps. And
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Mr. Armstrong?
Just a couple things. One, I know the meeting was cut short. We don't have a full council, but are we going to plan on doing some more discussions about the budget? Anybody have some more input? Before we move on to passing it?
I got a suggestion is, because John is here and I told Jenna to make the announcement, get your thoughts together. Because we got until the end of November to make that decision and there's only 2 meetings in November. So first Tuesday in November, bring your thoughts and let's talk it out.
You know what the thoughts are, because that would be the best time to do it. Because
Yeah.
then we can make a decision by the second one, when we have enough time to make that final decision before the end of November. That's when it's due. It's
Have they posted your public notice yet for? You're supposed to have a public hearing on the budget.
I've given it to the press, that type of thing already.
Yeah, but what date is it? That's November 5th. You're having that,
That's
what time?
End of November.
It has to be posted 10 days before.
Right.
Yeah, but what day is the actual public hearing for the budget?
I've been thinking,
November.
November 5th.
that one, yeah.
Yeah.
correct.
So we're having it the same day as the council meeting.
Yes,
What time? An hour before? Is it public? You know what time to publish the notification for?
it hasn't been published yet because I don't think there's an exact time yet.
Right.
Like we usually do it,
We still have time.
Yeah,
to
about
publish.
3 weeks.
That and, part of the budget was the capital plan. Do we have that? Is there anything, that we want to talk about on that? Do we have copies of it yet?
I don't know why you don't, Adam, what happened with the capital? I said, did we have that in your possession, in their possession yet? Perfect, you want to hand it out?
Get on the agenda.
Yeah, get it out, yeah, perfect.
You guys want.
Grab those, don't look at them now to waste time, but you take them with you and I'll go through them. That's the bridge one, the new one that we did. We took some things out for that Jason Milan is not gonna get to. We'll just use common sense.
Is there, I guess, where our question kind of lies from engineering myself, learning this new process, does the council really per se approve the capital budget? Or is it more just informational and then you guys approve it more on a project by project basis?
That's the way I
And
I was.
we kind of have
I
always.
think it's presented to us and then we,
You guys kind of just more like that's what's on the radar.
Right.
And then as seeker and bond approvals and that type of stuff comes up, that's when it really truly gets approved.
But we need to talk about it because I guess the publication is on the cost of writing the bonds,
Right.
so
Yep.
we don't wanna pick and choose and do
no.
them one at a time.
But you can have them all now, they're all in
Yeah,
front.
they're all in there.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
And just one more question out of curiosity. I know there were some emails going back and forth and you had talked about created the charter revision committee.
Yes.
Just kind of curious what the progress is, how meetings have been going, if there's anything.
Well, they're working on a
Working
couple,
towards.
the biggest one we're doing residency, that's the biggest one we're doing right now. So I got one of the officers are on the committee, I just lost, Chris Pelosi, and I picked up Fred Foles, I think first spot. So, the revision committee is all set, we're gonna meet, next meeting is set already, so, residency is the biggest issue right now.
Gotcha. And I remember with the last one, public hearings and stuff, is there any public notice, public outreach yet as far as meetings that have been planned yet?
Okay.
Obviously, it's not gonna be
No.
on this,
Yeah, we have a whole year to do
Yeah.
it, but we'll start next meeting now to get the ideas what we want to address.
that was it, just had some people asking. Thank you.
Who's on the committee? I asked.
I've got Fred Foles, the attorney on it, Brittany, myself, Sharon, we got George Cook, I had to go bipartisan, I got Republican, Democrats, he's a conservative, I got Bill is on it, Bill Simon, and some other people. I don't know who.
We did get a list sent to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can resend it if you want. And Mark Thorne, that's the letter. They just, David, a couple of things quick, as you know, we're trying to get rid of property that we don't want to maintain no more. I'm gonna turn bad property that we maintain into revenue for us. So we got a property on Elko Creek, which the guy wants to buy a dock space. And I want to bring that back to life. He's back in the picture again. And to do that, we have two ways to sell it. We can do an illegal sale or we can do a sale, which is to everybody. And so we gotta offer it to everybody because it's a property on Elko Creek. So if we're selling for $30,000 an acre, well, let's say it's half an acre, so it's $15,000. And we put it up there and it's a bidding war, it may go to $30,000. So it's a nice piece of property. Hey, Jason, go out and look and see if there's anything on the property that's underground wiring, underground cable, underground anything. There's nothing there. Is there anything to make sure that we didn't dedicate it as parkland? Because when we sold, I guess, Little League Drive, we had to designate, that was parkland. So to do that, we had to designate other areas as parkland, we couldn't sell them. So I went through the whole process, there's nothing there. So I'm gonna keep you updated, give you some ideas and take a look at it. But it's when you come down town or Elko Creek, past the old church, and you run into the first dock there, and that's the town. The second one is the one he's interested in. It's the first dock on our property. There's nothing there, but we gotta mow it, maintain it. And there's nothing on the property. There's no reason why we shouldn't get rid of it.
So there's not a dock built on there, it's
There's
just
not
a
a
piece of land
dock.
that borders up to it, just like the other.
I wanna get rid of
So on Ellicott Creek heading into the town, or are you talking,
it.
you just,
I don't want it.
you're talking about coming from the town into the
Yeah,
city of
it's not-
Tonawanda, dock would be on your right hand or left hand side?
Oh, right, so it's gotta be on the
Right
road.
hand side?
And
So
there's
that's
no-
right at the end of Frederick then. It's
That is
next
correct.
to,
That is correct. It's got- it's
the
first dock.
electrician right
It's
on
not
the.
huge, but he can't build anything on it. He just wants to rent out the dock. I did my boat was 22 feet. I'm doing the equation, $1,000. He's got to sell it again 3 years before he gets paid off, at least 3 years. So can't do anything. He can't build a apartment on it. He can't build a store.
But he can put docks up if you want.
He can put dock, yes. Put double docks up.
Like you said, there's no restrictions on that, that's
None.
approved by the city. of
No, I just wanna make sure that we didn't have,
Yeah.
but didn't prove it as parkland, and we didn't swap it as anything, and also the fact that there's nothing under, we have to get in there and say, well, we need an easement, there's nothing there. So if I find something like that, my thought is, let's turn it into revenue. Let's get rid of it. Why maintain it? And there's a lot more properties like that throughout the city.
Well, there's a lot more on Ellicott
There's
Creek.
there's a lot of everywhere.
Only a few more.
So that anyways,
The
just
guy
give you a
at
heads up.
340 doesn't
I'll
want
keep
it,
you
though.
abreast of what's going on. I'll send you some information. I just got it back again today. And as you heard, at the 7 o'clock, Spalding is sold, so Mike and Brittany, thank you for going with the contract. They found a few things that they did wrong on it, which means it's not gonna be, nil. It's gonna be just tweaks, so it's done correctly. Misspells words. They, instead of paying us $44,000 as a deposit, they wanna pay 244. They can do that. I'm happy with it, but
Yeah.
Mike found that, so thanks, Mike.
Who's the purchaser?
It's Pasquale,
Kramer,
Matt Kramer,
Dan
Matt
Kramer,
Kramer and Pasquale.
Pasquale, they're gonna form an LLC.
Is that the parcel that had those trusses on it for the longest time?
No, that one is Vaccaro, which we're working on next. We've already told him, look at, his problem was, look at, I can't get it all done, I don't like the reverter clause. Reverter clause is what happened at Little League Drive. If you don't build it a certain amount of years, it comes back to me. They didn't like the reverter clause, so we changed it and say, look, we'll do it in phases. You'll do phase 1 by this date, phase 2 by this date. I love it. Great, tell me what you want. And it sat there forever and they're blaming Mike. Mike had nothing to do with it. It falls in their court. So now we're gonna pressure them to say, look at, you give us what you want and we'll tell you if it's okay. So have them fill out the phases in the way they want to do it. So both properties, I anticipate on being sold in our possession this year.
So what parcel just sold? Did they just close?
The Heinz Street part.
The High Street one,
Yes,
okay.
the Heinz Street, all of it.
8.1 acres.
Yep, facing that plaza where the bottle return place.
That is correct.
that-
What that does, it takes Dave mows
He doesn't have to
that.
mow it anymore.
Right.
Right. It's all deer, the deer hang out there, yeah.
Exactly. But just to give you an update on properties and, remember, our goal is to increase our revenue.
How about
Keep our
that?
spending under control, but simply control it, I'm sorry.
How about that? I'm sorry. I thought we were about-
Or,
Where with David
I'm
Holmes?
glad you said that because,
I'm just,
I had a meeting last week with David Holmes, and David Holmes wanted to give me a report. He said, here's what he plans on doing when you see him up there. So, well, snow does not happen right away. He's cleaning up the area. He's preparing it. The guy's name is Jason Wolf. He's the company who's doing the work. And, they're gonna start this year, in the fall, leveling things up. So they've already, had surveyors up there, so it's moving. I'm just happy he's doing something. Is it gonna be finished? I can't guarantee that either, but he's moving. I saw movement from the, little amoeba, so this is good. Movement is good.
we have a clause up there too that. it
No,
refers back to nothing.
yep, nope, wasn't written in.
That's
So,
good.
nothing we can do about that. But anyways, I wanna make sure that you're updated on what's going on, so. That's where we are.
Much appreciated. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Hi, I'm Mr. Johnstown.
I-
Thank you very much.
You did a good job tonight.
I got the other.
Put it back to me.
I'll take one. I'll check
Okay.
this stuff out.
How many were there? How many?
Four.
Oh, I thought it was all one.
No,
I'm sorry, I didn't provide a
No.
carry case.
What?